Hey everyone, it's Freddrock here. I played another game, so this is an opinions video on the game Manifold Garden. I actually played it on Steam, and it's by the developer Chyr Studio. This is an indie adventure puzzle game, much like The Witness, in terms of it has a first-person perspective, you're solving puzzles. It's not that difficult to figure out what you're supposed to do in the game, but the puzzles themselves are actually very struggling at times. It's very, very interesting. The game basically wraps itself around the idea that there's a reimagining of physics in space. So the idea that the geometry will repeat itself infinitely in every direction. If you fall down or you go left or right, you're going to see repeating patterns, and that's actually really, really cool to see in a game like this. In terms of what it looks like, you can even see throughout this playthrough, it's very minimalistic. Like there's not a lot going on in terms of the graphics, but I actually think that very much helps this game out. And I actually enjoyed it more because I didn't have to focus on anything except for solving the puzzles. And throughout this video, you're actually going to see I do struggle through quite a bit of the puzzles, especially early on. Since this is just like a first opinions video, it's kind of me just struggling through some of the basics even. And I actually enjoy that. That's why I enjoy games like this a lot. Puzzle games are some of my favorite games out there. In terms of what to talk about early on, like the gameplay is very simple. You walk around, but you can walk on any surface almost. So it's basically if you want to walk on any of the walls, you just push a button and you'll basically be magnetized, or the world will flip so that you're on that side of the wall. And you need to do this in order to solve the puzzles because you have to get blocks of certain colors, and you have to take those blocks and you have to put them on places. And when you put them on places, it opens up doors, or it opens up other possibilities in the world, and it's really, really cool. And that's why the gameplay is so simple in that way. Like there's no jumping. You absolutely can't jump, but you can fall. And that's another way that gravity and the infinite space takes you, because you fall in a direction and it'll just repeat and repeat and repeat. And you actually have to solve a lot of the traversal puzzles. Even getting around the world, you have to do it because you're falling and falling and falling. And that's actually really neat in this. Talking about the story, there's no introduction to the story. You're actually cast right into the game. So the idea of the story, if you read the description, is you're restoring a barren world with vegetation and life. That's the idea, because you're trying to restore some color. You're trying to do that, but you don't really feel like you're doing that. You're just going through and solving puzzles. I think that they could have added a bit more to the story here to make you feel like you were more part of things instead of just going through each task and doing things like that. But it's still a lot of fun to solve the puzzles, and I really enjoyed the starting areas for this. The tutorial was very easy in getting me used to what I needed to do, and then it opened up and I struggled a bit more here, and here, right? The replay value for this game so far, I can't see it being something that you could just replay over and over again. It's something where once you finish it, you've solved the puzzles, so you really understand what this game has to give. But if you come back to it later on, you're obviously going to not remember all the puzzles, and maybe you'll enjoy it that way. But it's definitely a game that you would enjoy sharing with other people, to be like, hey, you should try solving these. There were some really difficult ones, so I think and it's really fun to watch people solve puzzles and try to figure out games that way, where maybe you're solving it with them, or maybe you're watching how they solved it that's different than you. That's why I really like games like this. Manifold Garden, an element that stands out to me is just like it's the graphics. Like I think the minimalistic approach that they took in Manifold Garden is very appreciative. I think they did that so that you wouldn't be distracted in any other way. So it's like I get to focus on the puzzles, as I said before, and I think that really stood out to me as a positive more than anything else. As for the problems, like we went through story, went through everything like that, I don't really see anything glaring. I think they got to the point. I think they did what they needed to do in terms of what they wanted this game to be, and I really, really appreciate that. And I look forward to playing more of it for sure, just because of that. As for anybody, I absolutely recommend this game for people who are first-person puzzle lovers. If you did play The Witness, you're going to thoroughly enjoy something like this. The puzzles do get difficult, so I hope that you guys give this game a chance. This is Manifold Garden. Please enjoy the rest of the video, and thank you for taking the time to hear me out. Enjoy.